What's going on, everybody? Welcome. We back at it again on a fresh episode of TJ's 100% Real Talk. It is awesome to be here on today. We ready. I'm turned up. I'm live. You know what I'm saying? We good. So it's your boy TJ. I'm here and introducing my co-host.
Yo, what's up? It's the one, the only, your sister, your cousin, your auntie, your BFF. Just Lady K. Thank you very much.
So what's going on, everybody? We had to come on Saturday because I don't know if you guys looked at the video or not, but we had to go to an event yesterday to support the man of God on yesterday. It was an awesome service. Our pastor, the Bishop-elect Ricky Taylor, preached an awesome word on yesterday, and it was off the chain. It was off the chain. We needed it, and I'm glad that we went, and it was just awesome. And so, of course, we wanted to move it to today so we wouldn't miss. And then, of course, it's my birthday weekend, so I wanted to hello.
Hey.
And I wanted to make sure that we make sure we do an episode for my birthday weekend, man, to make sure we turn up. So also today is Saturday. Usually my wife is usually doing her show. She's usually doing her show on Facebook Live. I'm sorry, y'all. So she's usually doing her show on Facebook. And do you want to tell them about your? Because I know today is Saturday, and usually doing your show. So she actually decided to help her brother out, help her husband actually, and do the podcast today. So that was a blessing. I really appreciate that. So, but do you want to let them know, dear?
Yes, well, as you all know, that I am the owner and CEO of the Final Touch Jewels. Yes, which normally we do our live on Saturdays, but as he said, I did not do mine today. I canceled it so he can do his, and so we can prep for the big turn up, for the celebration, for the
big turn up.
for the celebration for tomorrow, because it's the what he say. The black man living in America's birthday tomorrow.
Black man living in America.
So that's what we do. So yeah, I decided not to do my my jury sale live on tonight, so he can have free reign this weekend and do what he would like to do. So here we are, ready to kick it.
And because we got so much to do. We're not going to be long today, but I do want to say one thing. My wife got me this for my birthday. I love it, man. This chain right here is nice, man. I love it, man. It's real heavy, and it's blue and silver. I mean, this chain is real nice, man. And of course, I'm gonna be sporting that mug tomorrow, so you're gonna be seeing the blingage. If you got the invitation, you're gonna be seeing the blingage.
So shout out to I think it's called Spicy or something. They don't they don't spell the whole word out. I think it's just SPCY. Or it might have the page of Spice Ice on Facebook. I can't remember, but shout out to them. That's where I got that. As soon the day that I ordered it, they shipped it the same day. Like literally, it said your order was shipped, I think, within an hour of me ordering it or less. So they are definitely quick. And because I did it on a Friday, it seemed like it took longer because you can't count the weekend. But otherwise, I probably would have got it within a day or two, within probably 2 days max. So yeah, shout out to I believe it's called Spicy Ice, SPCY, if I'm not mistaken. But again, check them out there on Facebook. I know many of y'all probably have seen the picture of those chains. They come in various colors.
Yes,
they have a black and blue one, a gold and black, a gold and silver. Yeah, they have a lot. And there's actually a bracelet that matches that too. So I might have to go and hook them up with the rest of the set.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm gonna rock it. I'm gonna rock it. Thank you, Nene. Thank you, Yena's Life Journey. Hey, I'm of course I'm we're gonna turn on tomorrow. What's going on? What's good? So of course tonight, because we're gonna get right into this thing because we got so much to do. So we're not gonna be on long. So those who miss it, they're just gonna miss it. we're not gonna dwell too long. We gotta get some things done and move on. But I did want to do a little pre-celebration. Your boy is turning 37. I'll be turning 37 tomorrow, March 27th.
Get on up there,
and yeah, I'm getting on up there. But
I'm
not gonna tell you my wife's age, so just know I am the younger one.
You just gotta throw that out there, huh?
I'm just saying.
Just gotta throw that out there.
I'm getting up there, so
it ain't like I'm just way, like I'm 10, 15 years older than him. It ain't even necessary. It ain't even 5 years. It ain't even 2 years. I'm only 1 year older than the old buckethead. He act like it's like I got 10 years on him or something. I am not no cougar. Okay? I am not a cougar.
No, she's not. She's not. She's a lovely lady. Mm-hmm. Lovely lady, my lovely lady. So, but no, so this so this week's episode, and well, I'll say that at the end, but this week's episode, so we were going to get into marriage after 5 years, and we were getting into that because, of course, we got into a discussion about how people, kind of start feeling differently after 5 years, after the lubby-dubby phase, as we call it.
Yes, the honeymoon phase.
And usually, as far as by statistics, usually it's 5 years. After 5 years, people start feeling that itch or stuff or whatever. They start seeing things, or start wanting stuff, or feeling sensations, or not seeing what they like in their partner, in their spouse, I should say, not partner. Not that direction, Lord, please forgive me. But in their spouse, So, and the thing is that we, sometimes I really believe that a lot of people, when in that situation, within the 5 years, usually, people do feel that itch, or people do feel that need to say, hey man, this is getting bored, or I don't like what I seen, or, I don't like what I saw, what this person did. I want to, give up. And so the thing I want to get into first, is, I want to get into first is that, is it a true statement that after 5 years, people start feeling that way, or, the lovey-dovey phase is over? That's the first thing I want to do in the first segment is that true? Is it true, when we talk about those things? And then the next one I want to get into is, when after we hit the 5 year mark, how should we, what is a good idea to keep the marriage on fire? What is a good idea to keep things flowing? If it starts getting laggy after 5 years, because a lot of people deal with different things. So I'm gonna, of course, talk to my lovely wife here, and so and also you can comment in the comment section. But is it true? Is it true that after 5 years, people usually feel that itch? Is that really true? And I know somebody even told us that one time. But is it true that that's actually even a thing?
It's a thing if you make it a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it all depends on where your focus is and what you're doing at the time, the place that you are in 5 years, from the moment that you said I do. It just all depends. That's not, I guess that's the general, categorization of it. That's the way that they categorize it, just because, they say that most start, having problems and things or whatever, or they really start to see how, their partner really is within those first 5 years and stuff. But then people forget that you're constantly learning, you're constantly growing, you're constantly finding out new things about how your partner is. Because they, once you say I do, then okay, then that's when the true them come out, supposedly, I guess, as people say. So but it all depends on, like I said, it all depends on if you gonna be like, okay, you counting, okay, this year 2, all right, this year 4, oh, year 5, we're supposed to start having problems. If that comes up, if you make it an issue, then it's gonna be an issue.
Exactly.
If you allow what people say supposedly happens because it happened to them, or that's just a general survey or statistic or whatever that they take from whatever report or thing that you done got, from off of Google.
Off of Google.
Then that's what we Google everything now. We Google our symptoms. We Google everything. So if that's what you believe, from all of these different things that you try to get relationship advice from, that okay, 5-year mark we supposed to have problems, then yeah, it's you gonna have them.
That's true.
It just all depends on your mindset and the place you're in, where you're in at that time. Because sometimes that whole first 5 years could be an issue.
True.
You just never know. It's not just because you hit year 5 then the issues start. It all depends on the place and the season you are in your life and in your marriage. Yep. And if you make it an issue, it's gonna be an issue.
It's gonna be an issue. Exactly. That's exactly right. If you make it an issue, it's going to be an issue. And now there is, to me, from experience, I would say there is some truth to it. And this is the reason why I say there is some truth, because when you're with somebody for a time, like what Yanita's life journey says, keep on dating. Try new things with each other and share on one another interests. And so I believe like where Yanita's life was going, because I'll say it's some truth to what we were talking about. I'm trying to get it out, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, so there is some truth, because people get bored, and people get frustrated, people get annoyed. Sometimes, man, when you're hanging around that person for so long, we also discussed this in the last episode. Sometimes, things, you got to shake things up. And just like Yanita's life journey was saying, you have to try new things. You can't just sit and do the same thing every day, because if you do that with anybody, it's going to get bored with anybody. So you have to shake things up. You have to move forward. You have to push on, and you have to make things interesting. You have to go places. And honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth too. Like, if you don't like, I know having kids kind of change up stuff. It changes up stuff, because having kids kind of stop, for me. We talked about this earlier in one of the earlier episodes. If you want to go back and look at it, saying that I believe it was kids before marriage. Was that it's like it's like this. It's like your kids take that time away, and you don't have time to spend time with each other. So you kind of use that time to raise your kids and kind of move on and kind of do things. But, at the same time, it's like, man, it's like you don't have time to build with one another. But when you don't have kids and you're out there and you kind of, just doing what you're going to do, if you don't keep yourself active, I mean, I'm pretty sure after 5 years, you will get bored. And and sometimes, especially if the person is not trying anymore. One young lady had said on, it was I think it was a video on Facebook, and she was saying that men, they like for a woman to keep herself up, but then not only that, but they like a man like for a woman to kind of like keep him on his toes, about, dang man, she trying this on today, or she trying this, and hide and go sneak with the kid. Yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, you have to make it interesting. And so, especially with, as far as the men too, we have to keep ourselves groomed, and we have to make it interesting. That was a part in our relationship, and I'll use ours as an example. To where it was a part where I wasn't taking care of myself,
man.
And I was out there, not taking care of myself, because I'm like, man. And some men do this, like, hey, I got my wife, so I'm good. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about, dressing myself up or looking right. Like, man, no, man. Like, when you get married, man, it is always, it's a never ending. I would say, Mike, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a never ending like impression. Like you always want to impress your spouse. Don't ever think that the fact that you don't never want to impress, you always want to impress your spouse. And so, you need this life journey. It says there is dry spells because of lack of communication and jobs, kids, etc. will get in the way. Absolutely, and
yes.
we are guilty as that.
Yes.
And our first couple of years, we were all lovey-dovey and everything, and we were always going out. We was always going to Taco Cabana or going somewhere. It was a Popeye.
Look, when you live by just about every restaurant that you like.
Man, look, we was over there.
Like literally, we could walk.
We could walk. Like we it was on days, man, because we just moved out. We was living by ourselves, man, and man, dude, we would go out. Sometimes if she at work, I would walk. If I was like, man, I'm gonna go walk to Taco Bell. I'm gonna go walk. I had the choices of Taco Bell, Burger King, Popeyes, and if I wanted to drive down the way, it was Taco Cabana. And man, we ain't had no kids, so we just get 2 grown meals, and we good. So we didn't have any issues, and we just spend time with one another and everything. And
that's why our sister a little thick now. That's why I'm a little thick.
I mean, we used to do it. It was crazy. I mean, all of a sudden, man, we were just chilling and living together and doing what we want to do. And then all of a sudden, my wife was like, "Baby, I'm pregnant." And not to say we were perfect before we had kids.
Oh, wait a minute.
We had issues.
All of a sudden.
Well, that issue happened.
That wasn't that issue.
It wasn't an issue, but it was it happened because
that was an agreement at the time.
it was an agreement because I meant to say issue because we just survived a hurricane. And it was a hurricane.
Y'all know all these storm babies that came around in 2009 that everybody was posting talking about that they was pregnant and things. See when things go on in the world and you get locked up and you can't go nowhere. Things begin to happen. So hey, that was a quick agreement.
It was. I mean, y'all, come on, man.
God.
Y'all don't, man, come on, man. Don't. I mean, look, cause man, it was like, okay, like real talk, because I know we gotta move on to the next segment. But look, no, but it's good though because we just survived the hurricane. We actually did. We just survived the hurricane, and we were we wasn't even at our apartment, and we had to go to my brother-in-law. And it just happened. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure. Nah, whatever, man. Shoot, that's married. But I'm pretty sure my brother and my sister-in-law, they probably figured it out. They probably added it up. Like, wait a minute, hold on. So, but anyways. But yeah, man. So I mean, but when they came along, we actually had less time together, and we had to shoot the pregnancy and all that stuff. Not to say it wasn't enjoyable, not to say it wasn't great, not to say it wasn't the best thing that ever happened, but it was just different. And she some of the things she was going through mood swings and everything like that.
I know this is our topic, but this is just one of them situations, one of them stories that just always come up every once in a while. As a matter of fact, he mentioned it the other day. So I was pregnant, right? In the beginning stages, and it wasn't funny at the time when it happened and the mood swings, but he was I can't tell him I wasn't feeling good. So we was sitting out, he was sitting on the floor next to the couch. I'm laying on the couch. And he playing games. So I told him I wasn't feeling good. So I said, man, I'm not feeling good. I said, my stomach hurt. Then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I turned facing him because he's leaning up against the couch. I turned facing him and just
yep. I had the Xbox controller in my hand. I had it in my hand, y'all.
I threw up all over him.
All on my back, all on my controller. I was like,
but the funny thing, I mean, that's the funny. The best of thing, I started laughing first, and then he thought that ain't funny. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I ain't meant to.
And then I was like, oh wait, no, I didn't mean that. Man, look, y'all, I didn't know what to do. I was losing my mind. Man, I was like, man, come on, man, what's going on, bro? I was like, oh my gosh, man. Like first you happy, and then I was like, so I'm like, okay. So oh Lord. So after that, like I said, but that was the first year. And going through that, we had Jeremiah and we had Joshua and Jeremiah. And so, during that time, like I said, we was going through a lot of stuff. But, for me, like I said, I fell off because, I just stopped. And, what I had to learn was as a man, what I had to learn, and this is to anybody who watch this video in the future or whenever you watch it, the thing is that 5-year thing, yeah, it is something. But the thing is that you make it what it is. Right. If you have kids or whatnot, and and you see yourself not being able to spend time with each other because of jobs and everything like that, you got to make time. Take time off work. Put in that vacation time. Do what you ever got to do. Do what you got to do, because marriage is. I know sometimes we say, man, we got to make that money, and I keep telling people all the time that people say, man, I'm at work all the time because I'm picking up this overtime. Got to make that money. And what people don't understand is, yeah, you got to make that money, but it's not everything. Watch this, because when you make that overtime and you going out there and doing all that overtime stuff and work all the time, something is being sacrificed. Mm-hmm. Because you're gonna get that money, but that overtime money, first of all, Uncle Sam gonna get his, and then after
trust and believe
exactly that man, he gonna get his, and then after that, the money that comes, it's gonna be like it's like it's gonna be gone. So. Like I told my wife, like she want to start a restaurant. I support that. Do what you love to do. And then that way you can make time to actually for each other. Because if you have a job that you just it's just not making the time, and you just not, man, you're like, nah, man, we got to make time, because what's more important is your relationship with your spouse. That's more important, because when you get sick or ill or anything happens, then that person's going to be there for you. But don't let a job become between you and your relationship. And I believe that's another thing too. The reason why I think a 5-year mark is an issue too, because even within our 5 years too, we exchanged jobs. I was at Lowe's. She was at the what was that called?
Oh, wait.
The bridal store. But at first she was LP. And then I was working at Lowe's. She was loss prevention. And then I was at Lowe's, and then that switched. She ended up getting pregnant, and they ended up letting her go. Then I was at Lowe's full time, and when she went down to no job, and then part time, then I was full time. Then I went down to part time, and then she went full time as far as working for Missouri City. So the thing is like all those years changed. And watch this. Not only did I leave Lowe's, but I ended up getting a job at U of H, working overnight. So both of us at one point was working overnight, which it changed everything. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Thank you. Happy birthday. Woo-hoo! So, I'm sorry. I know I'm goofy, man. I'm sorry. But no, real talk. And that's what happened within our 5 years. And trust and believe, I'm going to be honest with you. The first 5 years was the toughest 5 years of our marriage.
And I think because I can remember thinking at that time that, especially because at the apartments that we were in, that I remember thinking at that time was like, okay, yeah, we hit the 5-year mark, so now we can breathe. Yeah. Because now we stopped trying to make sure that we got to that 5-year mark. We stopped trying to prove it and prove to everybody and all of that stuff that we was gonna make it and all this blah blah blah. And I can remember standing in that room and like, okay, it's the 5 years, so now this is why all the problems coming, because people kept saying that so much, that your 5-year mark, you're gonna have issues. 5-year mark, you make it to 5 years, then you good. You gonna last a lifetime if you can make it to 5. And that's how people do you. That's how it did. But I remember that. And because we finally stopped trying to push it so hard and try to make we gonna make it, we gonna make it to prove it that we was losing things. We were lacking in certain areas. We were lacking communication. We was lacking in spending time as life was changing with the jobs and then adding children and all that stuff. So it started lacking that we were still trying so hard to prove that we could make it, that we wasn't focused on the marriage itself. We was too busy focused on trying to prove it that we good, but we was too busy because we was trying to prove the fact that we were good.
Yeah.
Issues started happening. Things started going. Challenges started coming. So the head started butting and all this stuff. And it's like, you know what? But you know what? You can leave. I don't care. I leave. You know, it was going. It was that serious. Looking up to how you get a divorce in Texas. We're looking up for the fees and stuff. And even Prime, the thoughts crossed both of our minds. You can't say it crossed his. It crossed both of our minds to say who gonna get the apartment or who gonna get wherever we was at. And who gonna take the kids and all this stuff. I know we went through all of that. Man, so after we got to that point of trying to prove it, then it was like, okay, now we started having all these issues that, okay, now this is an issue that now it's time to start looking at yourselves.
Right.
These things start coming up to see, okay, now what's wrong with you? Look at what you do. Look at what this one do. Stop pointing the finger. And our first was pointing the fingers and stuff first.
Right. Yeah.
Then was like, no, look at you. No, look at you. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing to mess this up. Look at your role and how you added to this when it wasn't necessary.
Right.
You know, stuff like that. We had to go through that whole phase of getting to know ourselves as individuals, yet being married. And then getting to know each other as a married couple and forgetting that things change. You grow. You expect this. Our expectations.
Yes.
Our expectations of each other. Yeah, they change.
Because at first, in the first 5 years, our expectation was to prove people wrong.
Right.
And because it was in that manner. Now watch this. Just because we was trying to prove people wrong didn't mean that we wasn't having a lovey-dovey moment. But we was. But the thing was, we were so busy trying to prove people wrong that the fact that we forgot that, hey man, we need to be building one another, and we wasn't.
Yeah.
So that's why God had to shut that down for a second and then turn it around and say, no, y'all need to be building one another up. And so that was the thing. Like it was just that we had to learn how to focus on each other and not what other people are saying in our marriage. And like I just looked at it in a married group and they say, hey man, keep your marriage out of other people's business.
Man, okay? What? Because this one here,
your marriage don't need to be in nobody else's business.
This one here, he used to do that. I'd be like, oh my God, if you don't shut up, man, and stop posting stuff. I'm like, oh.
But see, that's the thing. And you know, sometimes you learn and you learn from understanding. You learn and you mature. And so that's what happened. I had to mature over the years. But the thing is, after that 5-year mark, I mean, we've been tested every kind of way.
Man,
so, you know, it's the thing that, yes, I will say it is true that there is a lovey-dovey phase. And I will say that 5-year mark is true. I will say that. That's just me. Because, again, you know, even though because watch this. And this is a good one, too, because the temptation is not as strong until you're with somebody for a minute. Because the reason why is when you're in that lovey-dovey phase, you're kind of blind by that lovey-dovey mode. So that can be used as a trick by the devil. And then what ends up happening is once that phase go away, you start seeing all kinds of stuff, and then you be like, why he look like, why you wearing that? Why you
he makes you draw your attention to stuff that's not necessary.
My wife, because I used to keep all shorts and stuff, even though they had holes in it.
Oh my God!
I used to keep hey, fam, I was like, look, if I can still wear the shorts, I'm gonna wear it.
Man, I don't know how many times.
I had a out there. I would go outside. I'd go to Taco Bell, walk across the street. Over there Nene, I'll go over there on Dairy View. Over there on Dairy View and Dairy Ash, walk to that Taco Bell right there with holes in my shorts, man. Go in there and get some tacos.
Oh Lord, but that's the part of him talking about in the beginning when he let go of himself. Oh my God. I mean that the hair. I mean, the hair he was starting to get a fro. He wasn't shaving. I mean, we're just sloppy. I was like, oh my God, dude, are you serious? I was like, dude. So I said, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna have to start throwing stuff away. I went straight hood. And it was like he didn't care no more. It was like, okay, I'm married and I'm good now.
But honestly, I did care. But it was like, you know, okay, it's like for me, I used to live in a house that's full of girls. So I didn't have the opportunity to, you know what I'm saying, just to be, hey, you know what I'm saying. So, I come and I got my own apartment, you know what I'm saying, hey, I'm turning up, hey, but no, it ain't, no.
Man, listen.
Oh, Lord Jesus. We gotta start reading some of these comments.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, that's that part of that, letting go stuff, and it was like, okay, that was a huge turn off.
It
I was like,
I turned my wife off. I did, but I turned it back on.
No.
I turned it back on.
But it wasn't just that. It was that, and then it was that, and when he was in that phase, attitude and stuff was different.
Yeah.
The way that he thought about stuff was different. And what was so what he used to say so early on was that he was trying not to be like his mom and dad. He would say that all the time, so often. And I was like, dude, you're trying not to be like that, but you are being like that because you're trying so hard not to. You're not realizing that you are being like that with different issues, different things that you would start to irritate your mom, or different things that your dad didn't like, or the way that your dad was dressed, or whatever. It was like, dude, but you're starting to be like that. So it was like, and people don't realize that when they say that, well, I'm not going to be like this person, or I'm not going to let this be like how, how I was when it was growing up or whatever. Now, sometimes when we try so hard to not be like that, we are being like that.
Yeah.
And not realizing it because we're putting time and energy in the wrong spot, in the wrong place. So that's what we went through that phase. And I know my weight been up and down in here. I've never been small. I don't even think the last time I was small was elementary.
No,
maybe.
Man, look, I told my wife, those who grew up with me know me. Okay. I don't do pencils. I don't do flatness. I don't do anything that I can surf on. The only thing I do, you have to have meat, thickness, gloriness that God has blessed us with. So I tell my wife, I tell her, I encourage her, because I understand, but I've been that way, ever since, I was always a man that loved the thickness. My mama knew how I was and everything. She knew before I even met Carla that my wife was gonna look like Carla. So I'm just saying. So so I mean, no, but for real, but no, seriously, like, I just, what I do is I always encourage my wife, and I always let her know, because I know she's she looks at her weight and everything, but I'm like, man,
and it's not that I'm insecure or anything like that about my weight, because I love the thickness, but I just don't like certain things. Like, I don't like the biscuits, the can of biscuits hanging over the pants, over the jeans, the extra rolls and stuff, like that little stuff I don't like. But no,
I did not. Rachel, oh my gosh, no, I did not, Rachel.
Hold on,
oh my god!
I saw that. But yeah, I was trying to figure out. Ray made us say TJ called me an ironing board.
Fam, no, I did not, bro.
You ain't call her an ironing board.
I don't remember that. Yes, an ironing board all the time. Rachel, no, I did not. I don't remember that. Oh my god.
See, but that's okay, because I tell him he'll bored too, because he just straight, he all back.
She always call me a boy. She always call me a boy and call me a big old head.
He all back, so it's okay. He a lollipop.
I don't remember, Rachel. I don't remember, dude. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, but that's the only
thing. I call Rachel dark chocolate. That's why we call him Rachel.
Like, so you ain't never called her our boy?
Maybe when we were kids. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
But it was true though, and I know I wouldn't. The one thing about me and the way that I was always taught is that when you leave the house, looking nice, looking decent. You're representing. Don't just look tacky. Don't, make sure your stuff not dirty. You're not wrinkled. You ain't got holes in the spots that shouldn't be holes. And that you don't stink and all that stuff. So I was taught all of that, and I even tell my boys that now, that I refuse to leave out of the house looking better than them.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I am not going to have my children nor my spouse looking hard out, and I'm looking all fly and stuff, and I'm like, no, I ain't finna leave it. That don't work.
Exactly.
That make it seem like I don't care, like I put too much pride into my look, but didn't care about theirs, and that's not right to me.
Nah,
that don't match. And even now to this day, me and him both check each other on Sundays to say, hey, how does look? Or whenever we going out or something, if we go out, we'll always be like, man, how does look?
I always check with her, because my thing is, if I don't look, if I don't look fly for her, then why in the world am I wearing what I'm wearing? That's the way I look at it. I want her eyes on me. When we go out there,
and it ain't even that. It's just as long as you're, and I always tell him, as long as you're comfortable, you like it, and you matching,
I just want
then you good. But it ain't.
Just look
but I had to hip him on buying clothes the appropriate size, because he was buying stuff way too big.
I lost weight, because y'all know, those of you, y'all know, I was when I graduated high school, I was big. I picked up a lot of weight, and I lost a lot of weight over years' time. But as I started losing weight, I kept buying big clothes. And right now, I mean, I'm the smallest I've been since. Man, I'm the smallest I've been, in a while, in a long time. Right now, I'm 222. So that's the smallest I've been in years. But real quick, before we go into the next segment, I was going to say something else, but I want to read some of these comments, because I know a lot of people saying.
I'm trying to get to it. Did I miss something?
Thank you. Okay. Saying happy birthday. First, Yanita's life journey was saying our first 5 to 7 years was hard too. Yes.
Yeah.
She knows.
It was little things that just added and piled up to it that, that helped magnify different things. Mm-hmm. And was like, this is going to drawing you closer to wanting to call it quits.
Right.
And say that, no, this is, we split and forget this, whatever. And even up until right when we got the house. Yeah. Even after like the year, maybe that first year when we got the house.
Yeah.
It was still in that phase. Like we both like, man, whatever. We probably just one of us gonna leave, but then we still moving forward together at the same time. Which is
odd. When we got the house, I had my mind made up.
Yeah.
But she honestly, she was still decisive. But I had my mind made up.
And the one thing that's the one thing with him. He's a whole lot. He's quicker to make a decision on certain things, and he's quicker to go ahead and just be like, this is what I want, whatever, blah blah blah. Me, I'm like, look, let me analyze this real quick and probably overthink it, and then but still I'm watching you too, watching what you saying, and then I'm gonna see what you gonna do, gonna see what my actions gonna be, Now
y'all understand why I'm a black man living in America.
Oh, hush.
No, that was joke.
But that's what it was, and it was just like, dude, okay, so now that you done worked yourself out, you say you good, you getting self together, then let me have my time to get myself together. So we weren't on the same wavelength, I should say, as far as individual wise getting selves together, correcting self-checking each other. Self-checking yourself and saying, like, okay, this is the stuff I need to change about me or whatever. So some little stuff I just took a little longer than it might have with him, but I might have had to change. but now we're good now, and it's just like when you can look back over all the things that you have to deal with and struggle with. That's why it's easier for us to say, okay, we've been there, and we can honestly say we've been there, and not.
Hey, this say it. 14. It'll be 14.
Man, what?
It'll be 14, man.
So, 14.
But look, okay, so I'm sorry, y'all. I'm saying so Ray Made It says Greg and I were literally just talking about our early years. Year 2 and year 3 was tough. See, there we go. See, it's always the early years, man. Mm-hmm. And it and I mean, that's why it's always good to let people know. That's why everybody say that 5-year mark. Yeah, you hit that up, and then I think everybody choose that 5 year to say, okay, I'm gonna choose this year to say if I'm gonna stick with it or not.
Yeah, because usually they say what the first 2 years, 1 and 2 years is like your honeymoon, your real lovey-dovey phase, your honeymoon phase, you all going on trips and stuff, getting back to work, settling in, changing your name and all this stuff, and moving or whatever it is you're doing. And then, okay, now that you done got past that, now year 3, okay, now it's time to really just start seeing each other. So, you start learning things that you might not have known before. Even if you have lived together before.
Oh, you getting into the next segment. Wait.
Oh, I didn't know. My bad.
Wait, no, you want to read?
Which one?
Amos, my auntie.
Okay, so Miss Barbara says it was 7-year itch for us, but we made it. Amos and I are 45 years of marriage, and it is still a work in progress. I love it. See, and it's a work, and that's what people forget is that marriage is work. It's a constant work, and depending on how much work you got to put into it, depending on how hard you make it. If both people are trying, is God is your foundation, if God is leading your marriage or not. So it's different for each person or everyone as far as the things that you have to go through and face. But as far as if you gonna make it or not, that's up to you.
Right.
That's your determination. That's up to your mindset. That's if both parties are willing to work it. Because sometimes if one is just giving, and that was the other issue too with us. At one point, he was just willing to work. I wasn't. I was like, no, I'm done. I don't care. I quit. But then it was the other day, and finally I was like, okay, because even when he wanted to pray for me and all this stuff, I was like, dude, I don't want you praying for me. No, I was. That's the thing. It was like, okay, he was.
And even though she didn't, I still prayed.
Right, and because he still prayed regardless, that helped me. Even though at the time I didn't want to see it, because I was like, dude, man, whatever. Don't try to start all that now. Don't try to be what you should have been being at first. And that's how my whole attitude was about it. But because he still kept praying, and still kept holding firm and believing God and knowing that things were going to change, then I started to change.
See what happened. See, the Bible says that the prayers of the righteous availeth much. So therefore, not saying that I was perfect, but it's just that in that area, I was coming to God and asking God to help me be a better man for her and help her with her situation.
Speak the truth.
And so instead of her, even though she was rejecting me, God was like, "It's okay, TJ. She gonna reject you, but I got her. I'm gonna handle her." And He did. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to say nothing. I didn't have to do nothing. I just prayed. And, that's one thing that sometimes people in married couples, sometimes they overdo it. Sometimes they force people to change.
Yes,
you can't force nobody to change.
You cannot.
You can't force somebody to say, hey, stop doing this. You can't. Only way that a person can change in a marriage is if they are yielding to your actions. And this is what I mean by yielding to your actions, meaning that you are already in a place of doing right and doing right by God and praying in that place. And even though that person don't want to hear you praying, they don't want to hear you, they don't want to touch you, blah, 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 eventually it's going to change. That's where faith comes in. And that's what we have to understand. Like, that I think Yanita said it last week, that we are all individual people. But even though we're individual people, we're joined to one. But just because we're joined to one does not mean that person is just going to be all lovey-dovey all the time.
And as we had to learn that.
So the thing is that we have to understand is that when something needs to be changed and something needs to happen, then you have to pray to God about it. But watch this. When we pray to God, we can't pray amiss. We can't pray against the person. We can't pray, God, cast stones on my wife. God, get her in right. God, cast her to hell. And no, man, stop all that nonsense, man. You have to pray for yourself to gain understanding as to why your spouse is the way that they are and why they are rejecting. Then praying that things, that God smooths things over. Pray for the heart. Pray for the mind, because obviously, watch this. And this is the other trick of the enemy too. The devil will make it seem like it's you, but it's not. It's the person dealing with stuff in their own heart and their mind that they haven't got rid of yet.
Yeah.
And so God is still cleaning them out. And this is why marriages, I really believe in the early years, really a lot of people fall on to get a divorce because they don't know how to do the warfare thing. They don't know how to war with one another.
It's what are you praying?
What are you praying?
What are you praying?
It's too much like this. The blame finger, like it's her. No, bro, chill out. Don't blame one another, please. That is a mistake.
Yeah,
Lord have mercy. That's why we got into the place where we were, because we were pointing fingers for so many years at each other. You doing this, you doing this. It's like God's like, no, stop it. You know, it's you, TJ. Look in the mirror, okay, and then he'll deal with her. You know, but men, I'm gonna tell you right now, God is gonna deal with you first because you are the head. You are the head, so God's gonna deal with you first. You can't say, "Well, it's always my wife." No, God's gonna deal with you first. Then He's gonna go to the spouse. The same way He created in the beginning. He created Adam from the dust, and then He put Adam to sleep, knocked him out with a 2-piece combo, and then got that rib, created woman. So He's going to deal with the man first. And then it goes on. So we can't, that's the thing. So it's really, man, I'm telling you, just from our experience, I would say, it's been real good. So I went all off, Lord. But I just like to encourage people, because unfortunately in this country, the divorce rate is through the roof.
People give up too easy.
They give it up too easy when stuff don't go their way. They don't know how to go through the storm, man. It's like, golly. And wait a minute. Barbara Amos put up Hebrews 11:1.
I pulled it up.
7. You want to
which is Hebrews 11:1-7 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by the elders obtained a good report. The elders obtained a good report. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith, Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased God." In verse 6 says, but without faith it is impossible to please him. Mm-hmm. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Verse 7, by faith Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he commanded the world, and he became heir to the righteousness which is by faith. So basically, what we were talking about, because of his prayers, that he believed by faith that things were going to change.
Yeah.
He believed that because of the way he was praying, how he was praying, God, show me first, show me what needs to be done. And God, touch my wife's heart, touch her mind, God, whatever it is that's troubling her. No, I'm not saying that he said these exact prayers, but he probably did. Because many of them, I didn't even hear. Because after I was like, dude, what? Why? Get away from me. Don't touch me. But yet he still prayed. And at times I could even still hear him praying for us at night, for our marriage and all this stuff. And it was just like, dude, and then finally I had to get to that point of stop fighting. Mm-hmm. Stop fighting. You're fighting the wrong way. Stop fighting him. Stop fighting, trying to leave. Stop fighting, trying to make it work. Stop fighting. It was just stop fighting. You don't have to fight anymore. And I had to get to that breaking point to say, and it's not physical fighting. No, it's fighting, with the attitudes, being guarded, not wanting to get hurt more than what I already was or anything like that. So it was, God had to tell me that, okay, now it's time to stop fighting.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at what you're doing too, the role that you play, because it's not just the other person, as always. As he said, it's not always the other person. You always contribute. Both parties contribute in some kind of way. Mm-hmm. So whether it is, okay, this time is you, or it is that him the next time, but it's the overall thing that you're both contributing to the marriage. Yeah. So it was, okay, stop fighting the change. Stop fighting having to be made, over. Stop fighting me of trying to heal you. Stop fighting of, it was like, okay, now look, just let me do it. Mm-hmm. God is like, let me do this. you want the things that, you want to have a good marriage, you praying for this and that or whatever. But it's like, okay, now it's just time to just let me do what I have to do, because I have to change you too. It's not just him, I got to change you too. So as he said, once you stop pointing the finger and allow God to do an individual work, so that when the two can be fitly joined together, as it's saying, as what that scripture is meaning to say, that when they get married, that two becomes one. It's not to say that you lose who you are,
right,
but you're intertwining. So both of you are working together in the whole thing of the marriage. You're still who you are. He's still who he is. But now you're one together. You're one body.
Right.
So it's not like, okay, I'm not conforming you to be just like him. God's not conforming him to be just like me. No, he's putting the two together to make us whole, to say, so whatever area I lack in, he might have it, or whatever strengths he might have, it might be my weakness. That's the whole point of being joint together, of being made together as whole. And sometimes we lose that, to say, people get to that place in their marriages to say, well, I lost my identity. That's what people mean when you hear them to say, well, I lost my identity, because they're trying to be this ideal wife. They're trying to be what they were taught, what the world wants to see, what you heard, how you're raised. You try to be like that so much that you lose who you are in the process. And that's not what it means when God is saying that. They say that when two come together in marriage, that they become one. It's not saying that you lose you.
Yeah.
You're just coming together. You're adding. You're building. Exactly. You're being stronger than what you were by yourself. And we forget that. We forget that, and we take it the whole. We don't analyze it or realize it. And some of these scriptures, we don't understand what they truly mean until we have to face it.
Yep. That's real talk. We want to get into some of these comments. I want to start with you want to start with Gwen's lifestyle, babe?
Okay, so she says, Gwen's lifestyle says, don't even set up a marriage for your children. It's not right. And I know it because it happened to me. God will show you who is your spouse.
That's good.
That's true. So even us as parents, that we can't, even though I joke around with my boys and tell them they can't date till they 30 and all this stuff. It's just to joke around. But it's more so to say, don't be so quick, or don't be so eager to actually act like you got to have a girlfriend, that you got to have a wife.
Exactly.
Just take your time, learn who you are, learn who, date. Don't rush and try to get married so quick. But I'm when I say 30, I'll just be playing with them. But I am watching all 4 of them. I'm watching, but that's not. And as parents, and we have to remember not to, one, as she said, set up a marriage. Number one. And number 2, don't force our ideas. Don't force our ideology on our children.
Yeah.
Don't try to make them do things because we did it.
And what she mean by that too is traditions.
Yes, thank you.
She's not saying not raise them up in the Lord. That's not what she's saying. She's saying traditions. Traditions is just traditions is really what destroys people, honestly. Because tradition is made by man. It's traditions. But when you raise them up right, right from wrong, raise them up in the word, and do these things, then okay, you have to have faith enough to know that your kids will not deviate from what you taught them. So but tradition is the main thing that kills, man. If you get in that route, then yeah. And Yelita's life journey says, one time Marcel gave me a single flower. I got mad at him because I felt I deserved more. What, Nene, really? We got into a big argument, and then I asked God, Lord, you need to make him see what I'm talking about. God said, no, you are wrong. You are being spoiled. Single roles means single and only.
Okay, see, I didn't even read that comment, and I was about to say that's probably what he meant.
Yeah.
And that's just because, and I guess it's easy for me to see the different perspective of that, to say that was probably what he meant, because one of the things that I've learned in life is to try to see perspectives of different things,
right?
In different areas. See a perspective. Don't think that it's a one-track minded one way and that's the only way. But to try to see each, everyone's perspective when it comes to issues and stuff or whatever. And I was about to say that, but then I didn't want nobody to think that I was just saying that because I don't care about flowers.
No, but that
makes sense. That's what I was gonna say. Well, that's probably what he was trying to say. Right. That this is a symbolism to say that this is all I need is just you. But
yes, right. Yeah. And the thing is, sometimes, man, we look at. I like what she put in there, because sometimes we look at gifts, and sometimes we want a big extravagant gift. And usually, I'm gonna be honest. Usually, when we are looking for a big extravagant gift, it's because we ourselves believe that we deserve a big extravagant gift. When really, whatever comes from the person's heart, it should be big regardless. For how what
that's what makes it big.
That's what makes
it's
it
the
big.
Place of where it comes from. That's what makes it big, because one, you never know, that could have been that person's last dime, and they decided to spend that on you.
Exactly.
And but sometimes we forget because we're looking at it with our eyes to say, well, this ain't satisfying enough. This don't suffice. This ain't nothing I like. But you don't know where the place or where that came from. As long as it came from a good place, good heart, and their meaning behind it is genuine, then why does it have to be something extravagant?
Yeah. And I mean it. Okay. And that's true, man. I mean, as long as it's from the heart, man. I mean, I don't see really nothing. I mean, if you make it a big deal, then you really holding yourself at this point. But let me see where we're going here today. So it says the next one is I hate traditional life is flesh eating. Yes, it is. Traditional is just so. Oh wait a minute! Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Yeah,
so that's Ephesians 5:21.
And then Barbara says, "I hate traditional life. Is flesh eating? Yes, it is. It really is flesh eating, because for one, I also believe traditional life is also mind controlling, because when you follow tradition, what ends up happening is you're following it because somebody else told you and not God told you. You see what I'm saying? Because you're only doing it because man said that this is the tradition and you got to do it this way, and we're not doing it God's way. We have to understand that God is a creative God. We have to understand that He is an awesome God. He is a God of all good, and we have to understand that that men's tradition is not as great as God's creativity. So we have to get into a place of submission to God and His will, and because God will want us to do things creative, because He knows that's how He built us. That's how when we do creative things, it brings joy. You know what I'm saying? Plus, when we praise Him and then do creative things and have fun, we were just saying that earlier in the podcast that you have to be creative in the marriage. You have to do different things. And so tradition, man, it just kills all that. No, you should do it because it's a part of the family. No, you should do it because it's in it. Nah, man, no. Do what God asked you to do, because you're gonna be healthier. And I like how the way she said it's flesh eating. I like that part, because when you do tradition, it'll stress you out. You're doing something that you don't want to do, and then you're putting on a fake smile, but yet and still, are you telling everybody yes, but yet and still you're not, you're not happy. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to remember, and a lot of countries do traditional weddings when kids are born. I was just looking at a movie that I guess it was based in China or somewhere, and they picked this girl and this boy to be married when they was 5 and 6.
Oh wow!
Like, what's going on with this, man? So I mean, that ain't right, man. They ain't giving them time to get out there and see the world and stuff. And I just, man, like, come on, man. So Unita says that, yep, you're following the world's way, even the men's religious act of tradition. Yes, I like that. So that just gave me an episode. But for real, real talk, man. I mean, I really believe that's why weddings, marriages, marry him because his dad is a pastor. No. Wait, who? Oh Lord Jesus. But no, I mean, like to be honest with you, because I know we were saying with the 5 years, and what was the second one? I can't believe the last one. I know we were saying that is it true or not. So that was the first one. But then we're going into the next part to where I believe the 5 year is the main reason as far as for marriage and what people choose that for is because again, one, the world have so many different so many different ways to say that a marriage should be like this, it should be like that. And I know I use me and my wife as an example, but I really believe that it is beyond that. And I really believe that, and like Umbrella said, that it was 7 years. So I just really believe at the beginning it's tough because, of course, the enemy hates marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And, he doesn't want to see us stick together. And I'm going to be honest, too. I mean, to be honest with you, man, us as African Americans, and I'm just be real, we already have a label on us as far as marriages. Either it's the home is only either raised with one parent, you only have, a mother, or now sometimes you just have the father, or people just want to do things because, hey, this ain't working right, this working right. So you got a lot of things that people yield to. They yield to society, and sometimes they yield to what people say instead of yielding to God. And that's the truth of the matter is, I know a lot of people say, oh man, yielding to God ain't the answer. Well, yes, it is, because he's the one who created marriage. And I think people, what the world has done is try to make God boring. That's what they did. I'm gonna tell you something, man. God has a sense of humor. And the thing is that when people say, oh man, I got to follow these rules, it's not rules, it's to protect you. Because at the end of the day, somebody is always going to be looking after your wife, and somebody always going to be looking at your husband. It don't matter who it is. You got to put people in check, because you got some ratchet people that's out there that wants up. Man, look, I remember when I got married in my first 5 years, that's another thing. In my first 5 years, I had this ring on. But I tell you, the women picked up immediately. I mean, I'm talking about females. I was working at U of H, man. They coming from everywhere and stuff. And oh, you got this wedding ring. Oh, this is nice. They come from everywhere. They don't care if you're married or not, And that's where the temptation comes in, because the enemy knows that, hey, man, that they put that in your head. Like, oh, man, you're going to be with the same woman every day, man. You might as well get something different, feel something different, And it's like, nah, man, no. And all that stuff comes within the beginning. All that stuff comes. And some people, I'm going to tell you, those too, when you first get married, you also got those who are trying to say, see, I told you about him. I told you shouldn't have been with him. I told you shouldn't have been with her. Yeah, she's shady anyway. I didn't told you. It ain't going to work. You always have those, because right now, I'm going to tell you right now, nobody say that about us no more. I don't hear that no more. I don't really hear that no more. I don't hear that. But in the beginning, I had some haters, and I had some people. I had some, I had, like I said, I know Carla, she had men after her, and it's just.
I got asked a lot. Was like, how? Like, why?
Yeah.
How you look at couples and be like, how did that person end up with that person? Man. You already prejudging or whatever and all that. Yeah,
I'm telling you,
I had to deal with that a lot. And then I had a couple that was just sitting there just like in waiting, just waiting. It might still be waiting, but I don't know. Just waiting for, something to happen. Just waiting for us to split so they can slide on up in there.
Slide on in.
And it was just like, dude.
Slide in.
It was like, dude, you got the trust. If you don't think that you don't have anybody sitting there waiting for to see if your marriage is gonna fail or not, or waiting for they move trust, they watching whether you in communication with them still or not. They watching, because they come back at the.
It's always in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because like one of the guys that was friends with her, he don't even try to contact her no more. But in the beginning, he was contacting her. And I'm like, hold on, cuz, like, woo. And God was like, no, today, it's a phase. It's a phase. And I had to get with that dude, because, he was still asking her to meet up with at the mall and stuff and all that other stuff. I'm like, man, what the? So even with that, but even I had people that were still contacting me. And some people till this day don't like the fact that I married Carla. So it's like, you always going to have those haters in the beginning. And I really believe in the first years of the marriage, I really believe that a married couple should stick together, spend as much time and learn each other. Be in God. Please, whatever you got to do, be in God. Be in God together. Go to church together, be in the Lord together, study the Bible together, go on trips together, learn one another, because it's in the beginning. That's what I've learned, that in the first 5 years, man, there was so much temptation. Now that I think about it, it was. No, real talk. It was a lot of temptation for us both. And, the thing is like, that's where the enemy try to get you, because where we are now, our love is like bonded, you know what I mean? And so when those first couple of years, we were trying to bond, and it wasn't like.
And I think we cut too that, because, they say, not they say, excuse me. You can't, what tempts you is depending on if there's some type of desire or something in order for something to tempt you. And I think because of the fact that we were so focused on trying to make it work, that we ignored other issues. So like ignoring the fact that, okay, this is the first person you were with. And that's why with that, that's so you sure you want to be with somebody for the rest of your life? With me, you moved in with somebody, what we was moved in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks.
2 months, 2 weeks or 2 months, something like that, before we actually got married, that we lived together. And I wanted so bad to be on my own. So it was like, it's those different, the ways of the things that you desired, that a temptation came, maybe not in that exact form, but it came in something that is connected with that.
Right.
So with the fact that, okay, I'm the only person that you was with, then that's okay. Well, you sure about that? Man, you tied down, man, you lie. So I'm sure dudes like, man, you don't want to go tap that over there, or something like that. Or you made that, oh, you finna be locked in on that. And I'm trying not to say the word that most dudes use, but but I wasn't finna say yams, but I was just finna say what it was called. But that's how people, and because I wanted to really try to experience something with, experience life on my own, not being under mom and daddy, and we're going straight from mom and daddy to being in a relationship to the point that you're engaged, bam, and we live together, bam, and then now we're married. And it was like, dude, that was too much. It was too fast. It was like, let me live life, let me experience life just a little bit, first. But it was like, nah, he had his mind made up. And because of the fact that I think a lot of the things that we did get tempted with, and the tests and trials that we had to face, was because of what we still desired before we got married. The things that we wanted, the things that we wanted to experience, whether it was good and legit, experiences that we wanted to have, but it was just the way that the temptation came.
Yeah, the temptation came.
That made it. That was what made it bad, and the way that the temptation presented itself is what makes it bad.
Yeah, because you can't. Because the thing is like you honestly, like, we know people gonna be always looking, and you always gonna have people listening. But like in the first years, and the reason why I say it goes back to that is because, again, like I said, that's what was going on. Like the enemy knows, like, like right now, it's like, okay, yeah, we're going. I may be at one point maybe irritated, and back then I was like, I'm irritated, I don't care, whatever. But again, I was going through stuff. I still had an immature mind. But see, as my mind grows, and even this is even in the word, as you grow, you get different levels, so you got a different level, in that realm, you know what I mean? So the thing is like, back then, like, the enemy would know, oh, I hear you. So since you feel that way, let me bring her to your attention. So the devil always knows, he's always listening.
And don't always do it when and don't do it like at that moment. So like he hear it, but he's storing it. He keeping it for when for later, so when he can use that to slide on up in there. Okay, now you irritated at her, you mad at her. Okay, now this is a good time. Let me remind you of such and such. Let me go on and let her cross your path. Just for a second. I'll let you scroll and see her face. That's the thing. When you're not expecting it, is when he throws that temptation out there.
That's when he do it.
Because it hits you on the point. So Sarah Williams says you really can't stop outside people from trying to interfere in your relationship. People don't care about sanctity. No, it's always going to be up to the two individuals in a relationship.
Exactly. That's true.
That's true. Because
I'm gonna tell you, because I almost put my hands on somebody. But I mean, I'm just saying, like they don't care, you know. And man, I'm gonna tell y'all one of my stories. So matter of fact, I was at night, and this chick knew I was married to her, and I was working at night at U of H. This girl, she tried to go above and beyond. First of all, she was drunk. She knew I was married. And then she came. Oh, she tried to. They have like at school. They have like pancakes over there at the what's that called, at the frats and everything. They serve pancakes on game days. So you know, of course, us as security, we got to get all drunk people. Hey, get out of here, or you going to jail. So I'm like, no, ma'am, you got to go inside. So she's like, you want a pancake? She tried to feed me a pancake. I said, whoa, excuse me. I say, no, ma'am.
I ain't never heard this one.
I say, look, let's go. I had to take her to the townhome. Walk to the townhome, and then she went in there. I say, look, do you have your key card access? She's like, no. I said, okay, I'm gonna let you in, but you need to go in there and sit down, or if you come back out, I'm gonna call police and you're going to jail. So then she come back in and she say,
where is stuff at? No.
But look, so then what happened was after that, well, watch this. After this, how the devil do you? Because after that, when she was going in, she was like, you sure you don't want to come inside with me? I said, excuse me? I say, ma'am, get in there. It's like, come on, you know, ain't nobody watching. I say, man, if you don't get in there and close that door, this is what she said. I'm like, man, don't get in there. So I'm like, wow, dude, you see how the devil do. Now watch this. At this point in time, me and my wife was having issues. We were having issues. We was in a disagreement, as a matter of fact, that night. And so, matter of fact, I came back, I went inside, I said, man, the devil crazy. Later on at that night, that morning, or whatever, matter of fact, no, 2 days later, the same chick came to the office or whatnot, came to the office, and she came to the security officer, came in there and was like, you know, I just want to apologize because what she said, I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing and everything. I apologize. I'm glad that you respected me and stuff like that. I say, yeah. So I'm like, you know, the thing is, we really, but the thing is, though, it's like, you know, it's like they come from anywhere. They come from, but like Sarah said, you have to buck up and be like, no, this is my stand. This is where I am. You know, you're not finna touch on me. You're not finna do that. You're not finna, you know. Because if I would have went down that path, first of all, it would have destroyed my marriage. Number two, it would destroy my job. And then three, I probably would have went to jail myself. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's a student at the University of Houston. So I'm like, man, no, you know, I'm not finna do it. I'm not finna do all that, none of that dumb stuff. You know, so at the end of the day, you know, like I really believe that statement is very true. Like you have to really stand for your marriage because, again, people don't respect what you said before God. They don't respect it. They don't respect you know what you did, you know what you said, you know, and that's why I'm like, man, you know, what she said, the devil will try to slide into your DM. Oh yes,
morning, dude.
He'll try to slide. He'll try to slide in your DM and be extra and be like, hold on, you know, I had to. I mean, I'm not gonna put the business out there, but I know one of my homeboys. I was friends with him. We played on Xbox all the time, and after I found out what that Negro did, I had to X him out because that was just straight up disrespectful. But I'm just like, my thing is like, you know, people always do that, and they'll do that. But I guess in the beginning, the enemy knows that, you know, the enemy knows that we're trying to grow deeper in love. And the enemy knows what a married couple can do, not only in the kingdom, but he knows what a married couple can do in the community. He knows that it's strength in it. He knows what can come out of a married couple. And this is why, and I'm telling y'all, man, this is why the enemy wants so many of us to get divorces, because he doesn't want God to have the victory. And you know, and that's the thing. And like I said, the same thing with our brothers and our sisters. And I'm talking about, you know, our brothers in this country. You know, we have to learn how to be the men that we need to be for our wives. We have to learn to make sure that we love our wives no matter what, and make sure that we are covering our homes, because at the end of the day, not only that the devil is looking for you to fail, but shoot, people that don't look like you and I is looking for us to fail. So we have to make sure not only that our marriage is right, but we raise. Like I got 4 boys right now, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I stay on them. I want every single last one of them to marry a woman of God, a woman that will fit them, you know, and then they be a great men to them, and not only to them, but in their neighborhoods, in their communities. And so, you know, it all starts from the beginning. So, you know, I really believe it's just very important. It's important for all of us, man, to just stay real and to stay connected and just keep people out your business. I think that's the main thing.
Yes,
keep
Lord.
people out of your married business, man.
Now this business, y'all can know though.
Yeah.
I gotta go pick up your groceries for your party.
Oh, it's time?
It's past time.
Okay, so look.
We went a little longer than what he said we were going to go. And this was getting good, but I'm going to have to go and slide on by.
I was supposed to get off
at
15, but it got good and people start coming. So I really appreciate you guys.
It's going to be part two next week.
No, because we got to do the other one. The other lady said that she wanted to speak about. Speak about being in the next week's episode. I believe it's going to be on the 1st. I'll let y'all know if I do it on the 1st or the 2nd, but it's going to be about being in a relationship while she said being in a relationship or trying to keep your relationship fresh while trying to take care of your elderly, meaning like her mother or her father is staying with her. And I guess her mother and father is sickly.
She has health issues.
She has health issues, but she's, I guess, as far as she's trying to keep her relationship on fire, but I guess it's intervening. So she wanted to speak about that. So of course, that's something that we're going to get into next week. So please tune in. Like I said, you never know what God can speak through you as you're commenting or speak through us. This is all about encouraging the people of God about real life situations with the word of God. That's what we do. So guys, thank you for tuning in.
Now we're going to have to continue some kind of way. We're going to have to continue.
Yeah, we are. No, we are.
But I got to go get the food for the party, y'all. For the party.
Thank my wife. She was supposed to do final touch jewels, but she sacrificed for today. So thank you. She said, "Yeah, I know you can, Auntie." But
please do.
So next week, tomorrow is my birthday. We're gonna celebrate. We're gonna turn up. We're gonna have a good time. Thank you guys for tuning in on my birthday. TJ's 100% live. I'm turning 37. Hey, let's go, boys.
It's your birthday. Hey, it's your birthday. It's your birthday. Hey, you getting old. Hey, you getting old.
She done killed it. So, a black man living in America, y'all. That's why I am. But look, y'all, I love y'all. Until we meet again, y'all, peace, blessings, favor. Y'all stay blessed, man. Peace.
This is much love. Happy birthday! Oh, God.